He loves Elon Musk.
I think he should leave all those kids in the dirt. All 14 kids?
I think you should give us one of them.
Have you seen the clip of him walking off the stage and leaving his kid behind? In a vacuum, like I was a kid once. I got lost in the grocery store on occasion. Sure. But it is funny to just leave your kid in the dust as you like walk and wave to the fans in the crowd.
I'm not sure that clip's real. I think I heard it might have been.
It's fake?
It might be fake.
I've been got?
It's not fake, but there's more. God damn, I'm already apologizing.
We baited him into it.
You guys are literally saying something wrong. If you continue the clip, he turns around, he goes and gets his kid, and he brings him over.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And everybody's like, oh, Doug spent the whole podcast defending Elon Musk. You guys are saying so. It's not what happened.
This is a good
exercise literally not what happened.
in correcting the narrative because I would like I said,
yeah, but
my
you guys
parents lost me in the grocery store.
You guys can do this. You can just say wrong shit about Elon, and then I have to look like the dick sucker who's going to come in and be like, actually, no.
Yes, sir.
No.
On the internet opinion side, this is an easy side of the argument to be on, but I'm going to try and go at it from a business angle, which is that I am not making the argument that Elon Musk sucks. It doesn't matter to me. Like I mentioned, I talk about this on stream. I'm not a big fan of Jeff Bezos either, but I own Amazon stock, all right? What I'm saying, I'll make an argument here, is that I think Tesla is in a really negative position going into the future. That I'm not confident in their ability to execute and that they're in a worse spot. That's what I'm going for.
I like that idea of the conversation because similarly, like I'm not a fan of Elon Musk first, and he's not my best friend like Doug.
Right.
And
you don't have posters on your wall like he does. Or,
I do think there's this idea that like anything he touches or is associated with is automatically bad. But when I saw like SpaceX catch the rocket for the first time, I'm like, that is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I could jump in. You want to go to the patented presentation wall, or do you have something you want?
Or do you want to kick off like your overview, like high level argument about what's going on with Tesla, and then we can back up and talk about what's going on with self-driving? Because ultimately, I think what underpins almost all this conversation is self-driving cars. That is what Tesla is betting on. It's not really about how many Model Ys they sell. And so, what's your like kind of fundamental core argument here?
I would say my fundamental core argument is it is about how many Model Ys they sell.
Okay. Oh, you think selling cars is what matters for a car company?
Interesting.
This is a future company, okay?
Yeah, my core argument is that as much as we extrapolate all these different things he's doing, the money the company makes is from selling cars. That's what it's from. And they're not selling as many cars as they used to sell. So that's a problem, right? And the company, I mean, I can go into my presentation. Should I pull it up?
I want you to get up there.
Yeah. I feel like I need to show some graphs and charts to
get up there.
All right, I'll go real quick. All right. This is a much longer presentation I did on my own channel, but I want to catch you guys up on what I'm thinking about Teslas lately. First of all, Texas, we got 44 wheels stolen off a Tesla in the parking lot. We got superchargers on fire in Massachusetts. We got protesters arrested in New York. We got protesters arrested in Georgia. Paint and vandalism in Berkeley. We got shots fired in Oregon. We got swastikas drawn on cars in Europe. Okay? And 3 months ago, none of this was happening. Elon Musk, $400 billion, richer than Mansa Musa and John D. Rockefeller, richest man in human history, richer than every single fictional rich person combined, according to Forbes.
Scrooge McDuck?
Much richer than Scrooge McDuck. Significantly richer than Scrooge McDuck. And then in the past 3 months, Tesla drops 50%. All right? Astronomical amount to drop. That's $800 billion in market cap loss. That's equivalent to, I'm going to skip ahead here, Toyota, Mazda, Subaru, Ford, Nissan, Rivian, Honda, Ferrari, Porsche, combined, all going to zero in 3 months, and then lighting $10 billion on fire on top of that. So it's a significant loss. Like, it's worth talking about. From a business POV, for me, it's fascinating. That's not normal. That's like, I think about something like Enron collapsing. That was like 20 billion. That's nothing by comparison. So if I asked why, people might show you this clip of Elon possibly Sieg Heiling, possibly Roman saluting. And, you could point to that as one political thing. But the whole point is that regardless of what you think about all this stuff, it's causing a reputational problem with a certain class of consumer. And these people used to buy a lot of EVs. So in every country they sell in other than China, Tesla's reputation score keeps falling. For a business, regardless of politics, that's just bad, right? That just means it's harder to sell cars. Especially when, if you do the math, I mean, Aiden, do you want to guess what the top 10 states that bought EVs voted for in this election? We think they were blue or red.
Oh, tough call. Tough call.
Well, they were all blue.
I'm going to go blue on that.
They were all blue. This is 2020 election. I don't have the data for. And then what do you think about the 10 states that bought the least EVs?
I mean,
you think they were red?
They're red. They're red.
Yeah, you guessed it right. They're red. The infrastructure's not there. They don't care as much. And so it's not a one-to-one trade to piss off one group for the other. If you're an EV car selling company, I got this poll here. 55% of Republicans say there's no chance at all they'd ever buy an EV in the next decade. Then I looked at the top 10 countries they sell in. It's down 76% in Germany, down 63% in France, down 70% in Canada, down 81% in Australia, down 38 in Norway, 44 in Sweden.
It's going to come up later, so I'm going to interject.
Okay.
This is recent. This is like last 2-ish months,
Yes,
right?
this is correct.
So
this is recent.
I was actually going to ask a version of that question, because my understanding was relative to the rest of the EV market, they were already starting to trend down because of the basically quality of EVs offered by other companies. So is this accelerating from that? And it sounds like yes.
There's also an argument. The Model Y is their biggest selling car by far. That's like almost all of Tesla's sales. It's one of the best selling cars in the world. Right now, they're doing a refresh and they're releasing a new version of it in like a month or two. So in the last 2 months, Tesla has been pitching the thing of, we are releasing a newer, better version of Model Y extremely soon. So that could justify, and who knows exactly how much, some amount of people no longer wanting to buy the main car that Tesla's selling, right?
100%.
Like you wouldn't buy the PS5 if the PS6 is coming out in 2 months for the same price.
100%. And it's also worth saying, if your Q1 sales are down from Q4, well, Q4 is the end of the year. People make big purchases, Christmas time. Of course they're going to be down. But this is this is not a normal amount of drop. And they're down year over year too. So they're down over January of last year. They're just down. Outside of the UK, 9 out of 10 of these countries, it's down, right? So that's a bad look in general. And I think it's because, listen, in China, nobody cares about Musk's politics. They don't care. They actually think he's the coolest tech guy. They still think he's Tony Stark.
There's not a lot of like anti-Elon sentiment pumping on Weibo.
No. On Billy, he's still based, okay? They have no problem.
They're living the Iron Man 2 dream
They still think he's Iron Man. But the problem is, there's other Iron Mans now in China, which is mainly this company BYD, Build Your Dreams, who is offering Tesla-like cars for way less that are built for the Chinese market. So they have just massively outstripped Tesla's sales recently. I was considering driving down to Mexico, buying a Chinese EV and smuggling it back into the United States to not pay the tariff. Yeah. And then I looked up what would happen to me. The fine is astronomical and I could get jail time for smuggling.
That's worth it. Do it for the pod, dude. Research.
I really thought it'd be like a minor slap on the wrist.
You expense the jail fine.
The lawyer and the
right.
It's a company expense.
It's just good business.
I looked into, there's a model of car called the Renault Twizy.
Okay.
And it's a really, really tiny, like street electric vehicle that I saw in Paris.
This is European?
And it costs like $15K. Yeah, Renault's like a French car manufacturer. I looked so hard to see how you could import one of these, like even if you have to pay fees and stuff. But it's not, you can't make it street legal in the US. So there's no real way of doing it.
Only Europeans would call a car a Twizy.
The Twizy.
Yeah. And with no shame.
You couldn't sell that.
Dude, it's like basically a golf cart. It's so funny. This is it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that's...
Oh, yeah. Cool.
But I was looking at the same thing, like what would it cost to like import one of these cars that we don't have.
All right, so just a very quick math here. This is my business major brain. There's a thing called PE ratio, basically what a company's worth divided by what it actually makes in earnings. A company like Ford or most car companies, it's between 5 and 10. Pretty normal for a stable, mature business.
So this means like what their total market value is 5 to 10 times what they make in a year?
That's right. So it's basically an idea for an investor of like how quickly you'll get your money back in a way.
Okay.
And it's based on, if it's a really high number, that means you actually expect the amount they make to go up rapidly. Because nobody's going to wait 20 years.
Yeah.
So a company like Apple might be 35 times because it's a high growth tech company. People expect the revenue to keep rising. And all that makes sense because they make $96 billion in profit a year. They're just a cash generating geyser. Profit. This is after all expenses. I'm being told to stand closer to the I'm getting so heated about Apple. I love how much money they make. Google makes $100 billion in profit. Microsoft makes $88 billion. Can you guess what Tesla's profit was last year?
I'll say, I'm guessing it's very low. I'll say something like $2 billion. Low relative to these companies.
You're ruining my reveal because that's way too low. No, it's $7 billion. But
you gotta like look shocked to be like, I don't know, 50 billion? And you set him up. You set him up for the big.
It's the Magnificent Seven, Aiden. They're all 7 companies. They're considered the big tech companies. All of them generate 50 billion plus in profits, except for Tesla, a 52% decline. So their profits are way lower and they're declining. So why are they worth 1.5 trillion the way these other companies are? That's my big question. And so now they're only down to 7 to 22 billion. But if you do their PE ratio today, it's still 101. So they're still implying a level of growth that I think is not there.
And that's saying that the market thinks that Tesla is worth 100 times what they're making in a year right now.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And again, what they're making, you know, it's 7 billion, but like 2 billion of that was like Bitcoin going up. They hold some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So their actual profits are like closer to 4. And that's just not enough to be worth 720, to be worth more than all of those car companies I listed earlier. So that's my core thesis is like, there's so much hopium built into this. And so, you know, if you do the math with the normal PE ratio of like an Apple, they're worth about 84 bill. So the rest of that is all this hype of what we're going to talk about later. It's self-driving, it's Optimus robots, it's robo-taxis, it's a possible new $25,000 car. All that stuff is what is like being hopiumed in to this massive valuation. And I don't believe it, or I don't believe all of it. You know, maybe it's like some of it might come to fruition, but I don't believe those are going to come out to make billions in pure clean profit the way Apple launching a new iPad or earbuds will do. That's my core business thesis here is like, I'm not buying it. I got to say, Elon Musk, perhaps he's occasionally overpromised. I think even his biggest fans.
He's blown past a couple deadlines.
He's done that. Okay, to be fair, he's done that once or twice every year since Tesla started.
So that's why I get, you know, from an investing POV, I get a little nervous.
Things got a little sidetracked when they made the flamethrower, dude. I don't know what you don't understand about that.
Speaking of sidetracked, every dot on this chart is a tweet. You'll notice after 2022, it gets blood red. He's tweeting thousands of times a month. You know, he's got 14 kids. He's got 10 businesses or whatever. It's like, as a Tesla investor, are you really getting his full attention as a CEO of a $744 billion company? So here's a quote from Elon. I'll just end on this before we get into our big discussion. He said, when looking at our actual, this is from 2020, and it's kind of like a small interview. I don't think he knew this would go so big, but when looking at our actual profitability, it's very low. Investors are giving us a lot of credit for future profits, but if at any point they conclude that's not going to happen, our stock will get crushed like a souffle under a sledgehammer. That's what I'm saying. If at any point everybody has the same thought that I do, which is this is not going to happen, this stock is worth so much less than it's currently being valued. And he's also got one more quote, and this is going to lead to what we're talking about.
This quote is important for me and for my point. Yeah,
but the overwhelming focus is solving full self-driving. So. Yeah, and that's essential. And like that's really the difference between Tesla being worth a lot of money and being worth basically zero.
So that's our argument. Is it worth a lot of money or is it worth basically zero? And I think I can sit back down. That's basically the main thing I want to say.